Now, Britain, remember, is dealing with a pretty concerning surge due to the Omicron variant of the coronavirus, and amidst the rapid rise in the number of infections just ahead of Christmas, Britain could be staring at the possibility of some pretty tough COVID-19 restrictions again. Now, there is uncertainty over the Omicron variant, and Britain's Health Secretary Sajid Javid has refused to rule out the possibility of imposing fresh restrictions just before Christmas. Sajid Javid was asked about the potential for new restrictions, to which he responded that there can be no guarantees in this pandemic because the situation due to the Omicron variant is evolving by the hour. Sajid Javid said that the government is watching the data pretty much on an hourly basis and is also listening to the scientific advisors. The government will decide on the further course of action once there is more data on the Omicron variant.
It's a very sobering analysis. We take it very seriously. As I said, there are gaps in the data, and our scientists, of course, they recognize that, for example, on severity, on hospitalizations. But we will look at this data, we will take into account other factors, and then decide whether further action is needed or not.
I think the key thing, though, is for us to have a cool, calm discussion around COBRA, look at the science, look at the trends. But I think if we don't bring in new restrictions sooner rather than later, you're going to see even more positive cases and potentially public services like the NHS on the verge of collapse, if not collapsing.
Meanwhile, Britain has reported a surge in the Omicron variant. The number of all new COVID-19 cases that were reported on Sunday stood at a staggering 82,886. Now, there's been a sharp jump of almost about 50% in the number of cases that have been reported as a part of the 7-day average. Sajid Javid said that the government believes that nearly about 60% of the new cases of coronavirus being reported in the United Kingdom have been a result of the Omicron variant. As of Friday, the number of confirmed Omicron cases across the country was over 37,000, and the number is up by more than 12,000 cases that were reported just 24 hours earlier. The Secretary Javid also said that the actual number of the Omicron infections are likely to be a lot higher. 12 people who were infected by the Omicron variant have so far died in Britain. A meeting of the government's emergency committee was held by the Cabinet Office Minister Steve Barclays. The ministers agreed to increase their funding to tackle the spread of the Omicron variant. And also, London's Mayor Sadiq Khan has declared a major incident to help the city's hospitals to cope. Now, Sadiq Khan said that he thought that fresh restrictions are pretty much inevitable. Otherwise, the health service would be on the verge of collapse yet again in Britain. There are joint pressures of staff shortages and increased hospitalizations. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.